Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Arissa and this is Arissa Art. And today I am making a clock. And this was a last minute thing because I bought these round wood cradle board pieces from Amazon. I bought like 6 of them. Yeah, 6 of them. And they're all bowed. And they look like shiitake mushrooms. So I can't use them, which is really, truly annoying. It's super, super thin. Like, super thin, the actual panel part. So what I did is, like that's the paint surface. That's ridiculous. It's too thin to do anything. So what I did, and it was kind of a happy accident. I was trying to push on the board just to see the bounce. And so when doing that, it cracked the back frame. So I got these, like a little crack on these things. And I thought, well, crap, what can I make with these? And so I'm going to make a clock. And with these, they fit kind of perfectly between the clock digits, holes, and the wall of this piece. So I'm going to make a clock. And I got these things from Temu. Let me show you in just a moment as I put these in wherever I want them to be. Let me spread them out just a bit. So I kind of want that broken line like that. So that I like that. So I got these round metal pieces from Temu. Let me show you some that I have. There's a bunch of different designs, Halloween designs, Christmas design, winter design. I love this tree of life, dragonflies and bees and all these different designs. And I really like the elephant ones. So I'm going to use an elephant one today. And so what I did is take it, put it in the center here, and I marked it. So this is the elephant one I'm going to use. I drilled the hole down out in the center, which fits perfectly. And it's going to be like that in the center of my clock with this around it. But I didn't want this, which is upside down, to be just this bare wood color. So I'm just looking over my side. I made a stain and I'm looking over my side. I totally just spilled the stain. So I'm going to make some more stain out of water. Wow, I just spilled the whole stain. So I'm going to put this off to the side for now. That's why I have this here. This is just another resin piece I'm going to finish. So I'm going to use a little bit of water. I want this to, maybe I'll use water. I was going to say maybe I'll use alcohol, but I won't. Water, and then I used a few of my purely pigment colors in here. I used my my chocolate drop. Just a few drops of that. And I used my burnt orange, which is still now just wet. And pour some of that in here. Just a touch. Kind of want it, I don't want it too orange actually. And in order to prevent it from being too orange, I use a little bit of my bone black. Just a couple of drops of that. And let me get it stirred up now because my original stir stick is completely covered. So that is the color I came up with. I see a little bit too much orange, so I'm going to add one more drop of black and a little bit more brown. Because I don't want it to be orange, but that piece does have orange in it, so I think it'll actually be okay. Yeah, I'm going to leave it just like that. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to rub these pieces with this mixture. I am going to stick them in my curing machine just so they cure up really quickly and dry, because you don't want to put it in the resin if it's not dry. And so I'm going to fast forward through all this, but all I'm going to do is take this and brush it on. And it's just going to stain this a little bit. It does not have to be perfect, but it does have to be stained. And I'm not going to worry about the bottom because the back of my clock is not going to be is going to be a solid color. So just like that, put them on. I may dry it off just a bit with the paper towel, and then we'll go from there. Just a little bit more. So after it's all on, I'm just going to take a paper towel, kind of buff it off. Like you would any other normal stain. And that's the color I'll get. A little bit of sparkle in there, but mostly a really pretty color. So I'm going to do all 7 of these pieces. I have 6 more. And then I'll throw them in my curing machine. And then we'll be back.
Har ingen lust, jag vill dra mig ur allting. Det är som jag hakar upp mig med flit. Det är alltid någonting som får mig att vända om innan jag har testat dans. Jag försöker tänka om.
Alright, so those are all done. I love how they look. I think they look amazing. I love the little shine in there. So I'm just going to take these really quickly, throw them in my little food dehydrator that I call my curing machine. It's just like a big, tall, 12-shelf food dehydrator. I think there's like 15 inches on the inside, so I can put tall molds in it, which I love. And I've never used it for food. I bought it specifically for resin and drying resincrete. So it is safe. I don't use it for food, only for this art room. But I will put this in there. I'm going to come back and do the first part of this pour with you. So I'll be right back. So this video was going to get really long. So I didn't want to really focus on this rectangular tray in doing this. So what I'm doing right now is doing some dots of UV resin so I can fill in the little bumps on the edge of this tray. I'm going to cure them with my curing machine, my curing light. And I'm just going to voice over through these so you guys don't have to worry about the tray because the clock is the superstar here. All right. See you in a second. Bye. All right. So for this, I think I need about 10 ounces of resin. So I'm going to get a 12-ounce cup and pour 10 ounces in it. But I'm trying to decide what color I want the background to be. Just for reference, this is my elephant. It's very pretty. I'm not going to be able to color match this background necessarily, but maybe I can do those red, orange, yellows. Yeah, I just decided. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the red, orange, yellow sunset-y colors. So I'm going to get 3 bigger cups here. Whoop. And mix them into there. So I'm going to do about 3.5 into each, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, my stick has resin on it on the top now. All right, let's do another 3.5 in here. I didn't degas this just because it'll have time. It'll have time to do it on its own. So there we go. Let me clean off my hand. I'm going to pick my colors here. And I know the first one I'm going to use, it's a Resiner's chameleon powder. It is gold, red, and purple. I love that color. All right, I think I'm going to use just the one chameleon powder in there, and then I'm going to use just plain micas. So I'm going to go to my mica selection here and pull out some pretty colors. There's my micas. There's part of them. So I will go orange red. If I can pull it open. Orange red. I like a yellow, a pretty yellow. Cotton candy is a pretty yellow. Magic gold yellow, I like that one. And then I need kind of an orangey color, but I don't want, like a pinky orange color. So I'm gonna go primrose. And I may use that chameleon powder just in smaller doses. Ooh, dropping stuff. So let me grab my smaller cup and put a little resin in that. So the chameleon powder one, I'll use it just a little bit. There we go. Let me mix these in and we'll get started. Jag vet vad som krävs av mig. Nivån var låg. Det är pinsamt. Och jag ser att det tär på dig. Och jag förstår. Det är slitsamt. Alright. So I'm going to get my elephant out and safe over there. Make sure I don't have any loose micas floating up. If so, stir them in. Although I'm not too bothered. In fact, I want some loose micas. I want floating gold in there. So I'm just gonna get a little cup and get a very little bit of a floating gold, just so I have some of that in there, I think. You do not need a lot. They go far and they take over. So always be careful of that. So I'm gonna go with my antique, maybe. Which one do I want to use? I think I'll use my rustic gold, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna use the rustic gold. This is the Let's Resin rustic gold. And I'm gonna put that just right in there. Kind of heavy, but be careful. If you put these metallic powders in your resin, it accelerates the curing. So don't do that and think you have a lot of time. Any metallics in resin like this, they're gonna accelerate your curing time. They make it super thick. So you can see it's even thicker now just by adding it in there. And then they accelerate. So you always wanna be careful if you've added a metallic powder. And that's so different than like a gold mica powder. It is a metallic powder and it floats and they cure, they accelerate your resin curing time. So beware of that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna pour. I am not gonna turn on this mat for at least an hour or so, just because I don't want it to curl. And anything you pour thin like this, because this is not very thick, it's like a 1/4 inch thick. Anything you pour thin like this, if you put too much heat on it too quickly, it's gonna curl on you. And you don't want that if you've worked so hard to make something pretty. So again, just kind of adding the colors in. Here, oh, the colors are so pretty. There we go. I'm not worried about it getting on top of my numbers right now. It'll all come out in the wash. There, let me grab my heat gun. And let's blow this around. I'll add some of this in here. And actually, I think I'm gonna fill this up because I don't wanna have to struggle moving this too much, and I don't want it pulling away, because that is a danger. If you don't add enough resin in any mold, it can pull away from your sides, and that's not fun at all. And also, I'm gonna move this first before I add in my floating gold, because again, that gold can get really bossy. And the more you kind of move it around, the more it spreads. So make sure you got your basic pattern down and composition down before you start adding in floating gold. It's just best practice. Start your blower away from your piece so the dust can get out of there. Slightly, I'm gonna take my popsicle stick here and I'm just gonna give it some side-to-side striations. I want it more side-to-side than I do all random, if that makes any sense. That's what I want. And I will keep doing this as this starts to move back. I'll keep on adding my striations back because I really like how they look. Anyway, I'm gonna let this cure. I think this is probably cured. So let's work on this really quickly. So right here, all I did was add a chrome nail powder to the edges just to give it a little bit of color. And after I'm done with this, I'm gonna take the tape off that I used to protect the base of the tray. I don't think I cleaned it up, but because I don't really mind that there's a little bit of a floating powder in the areas. But after that, I'm just going to add a clear coat to the first part of this tray. And so then I have something to add ends. So here you go. Let's get rid of this tray, all right?
Completely forgot
Okay,
to
bye.
put some of
Back
my
to the clock.
floating gold in. I'm a dork, so I'm just gonna put very little amounts. I let it drip, 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 and then a little bit. You don't need a lot of this. It will spread. And then I'll blow this around.
Jag var dum och det kommer tillbaka i vågor. Försvinner på dagen i tankar och frågor. Jag vet vad jag borde säga. Jag fattar du sa det så enkelt. 3 fina ord och de satte sig. För vår skull skulle jag gå dit, yeah. Men jag gick över gränsen istället.
What I love is that it's spread a little bit, but for the most part, it's just kind of lines. I'm going to take that little part there. And again, I'm going to continue to go through this so it will blend in with the piece. But I like that it's kind of lines and kind of moments where you catch a glimpse of gold, but it's not so in your face. I like that a lot. And I keep needing to remember that I don't need to have to worry about this center so much, because it's going to be covered, because I keep on wanting to focus on it, but I don't have to. All right, I am back sooner than expected, because I think I want to be impatient with this, because I really don't want to miss my window of opportunity to put this wood in. And so I'm going to do it now while this is still pretty wet, because I want it at the bottom. So I know I want these two opposite kind of one another, the bigger ones. So I'm going to set that in there like that. And I know I'll end up with some trim work to do, but that's okay. I can do that. Oops. Making sure this goes all the way down in there. Whoop. Getting off the excess. Like that. So here, I'm going to go this one here, making sure again, it's all the way down to the bottom. Oh, I was like, I'm missing some because I've got them in my, Don't put resin on them, girl. What in the world? Let me see. Go here with this one. Do I have a bigger one? Kind of have to make sure I get the right sizes where I want them. Right there. Oops. Clean my hands off. Right there. Here, I think. Here. And I want one more little one here. So I'm just going to take this and break it, which will give me an exposed side. Maybe I can break it. It's small. There we go. It'll give me an exposed side, of course. I want this smaller one, I think. So I will paint this, but then I can use my heat gun to dry this side really quickly. So paint it, wipe it off. And then I'll use my heat gun to blast it a bit off. So there. All right. And I don't want these to float at all. So the only good use of this janky little thing I have is that I can put this on top of here, like so, weigh this down with perhaps some resin. And that way those won't float. So now I'll be back when I am ready to put my elephant in. And I'm going to do something with these extras that I almost forgot I had. So I'll be back. Bye. All right. So this, I'm still going to leave that alone. It's still doing its thing. I just checked on it. I'll show you. I just did the striations again, and I really like how they are right now. I think that's super pretty. If I were to go and check where I'm going to put my elephant, it's almost to a point where I'll put my elephant down. I'm going to give it some more minutes. Again, my heat mat is not on yet. I will turn it on eventually, but not right now. However, I think this one is to a point where I can add some little inclusion. For this part of this little tray, I added some sparkle, a little diamond kind of dusty things, little stones that I got from Temu. I added some sparkly balls, and then I added some iridescent butterfly stickers that I got from Temu also. In the end, you'll see this tray. It's not my favorite thing. So that's, again, why I'm not really focusing on this part. And I just really love the clock, and I want you guys to see the clock. So, that's all about this butterfly tray for now. Let's get back to the clock. Bye. All right. I think this is going to be solid enough. Not solid, but sticky enough for me to put this elephant down. Yeah, it will be. I know it will be. And then also, I ended up taking my blue one out for a second because it was not behaving the way I wanted it to be behaving. So I'm going to pause on that one, and I'll put it back in after a while because it was sinking. And I did turn on my heat mat, but let's get this elephant put in here. Ooh. Just kind of brush it off a bit. It does have 2 holes on the side there, so I'll have to do something with those when I get to that point. And luckily, I don't have to worry too much about the bubbles, because they're going to be behind. So I'm just going to drop it just like that and let that settle in. Make sure it is upright. Luckily, those 2 holes do indicate the side, so they're at 9 and 3 right now. And the elephant is upright, and I don't think it'll move too much. Okay, so I'm going to leave this. I'm going to let that be here. Oh, I love the color background. I kind of want something on here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come back, and I'm still going to put my weight on the wood part. I have another 40 minutes. I'm going to add some more time to my heat, and rather than putting on my, well, maybe I will. I'll put on my dust cover so I don't want them to bend. Rather than putting on my dust cover, I'm just going to add some more time to this. And then I'll come back. Because if you put on your dust cover, the cover that you get with these, it really does accelerate the the curing time. But by leaving it open, it diminishes that intensity just a bit. So you have a little more working room. But I will be back when it's time to do the next part. Ta-da! All right, for this part, I just took some very shiny silver contact paper I got on Temu, and I just cut it to size and put it in the base of this tray, and then weighed it down with some of my acrylic pigment bottles just because the resin was sticky, but not so sticky that it wasn't going to come up. So I just weighed it down a bit and let that cure in place. Okay, back to the clock. Oh, right. I am super excited by how this looks right now. All I did to cover up those holes is, in this one, I put just 1 drop of my chocolate brown purely pigments. And on this one, I put a drop of my, golden nickel purely pigments. I want to get a little bit more off of this one, I think, if I can, because it kind of got along the edge. So just clean that up just a little bit. There we go. Alrighty, so I've got my resin mixed up here so I can top coat this. I'm going to put just a little tiny touch. This is another 20 ounces, and I'll show you what I'm going to put in it because it's barely anything, you guys. You don't do a lot of this. So let me grab a spoon here. So for this 20 ounces, I'm going to put that much. That is all. I'm going to disperse it in there and it will just be just enough sparkle. I did mix up a little bit more gold. I think maybe I want a little bit in front, but I don't know. So I just mixed up the gold just to make sure I have it. So you see, that is all I put in there. And as I stir this, it will disperse and kind of put the sparkle throughout the whole thing. But I do have to stir it for, 30 seconds or so just to break it apart and disperse it throughout. Let me get that done over here. Okay. So there you go. So just barely any sparkle in there. So I'm going to pour this one first because I'm going to back coat the other, but it won't be clear. So just pouring this throughout, making that elephant come alive under this resin, which is going to look cool. Hopefully I have enough. And I do want this slightly domed on these edges. Oh, I may not even have enough to do both right now. Let me pour that here. And then, okay. It's ever so slightly domed. It is not in the center, which is what I need because I need to be able to see or have my clock hands come through. And this is my gold. And so just while this is settling, I'm going to just take a little bit and kind of go through. Very little bit. And just pull it through with the actual stick that I used for the gold. And then I'll move this around too.
Stanna bara hemma till jag kan ge dig vad du vill. Trust me, det blir okej. Jag får vara i Colestone. Kanske vi kan börja om. Baby, det blir okej.
That resin is still useful, and I'll take my clear and clear the center here. Oops. I think I over poured anyway, so I had to pull out some anyway. There. And now that is exactly enough gold. So I'm going to let that one stand. I'm going to pour this other resin back in to this big pot.
Your eyes tell me that you don't wanna leave just yet. No, my eyes agree. It's almost like when we first met. Oh, I don't care, it's getting too late. I want you and I can't wait. Don't wanna spend a minute without you. I know you feel the same. So come on, give me love. I'ma show you how to move with my body. Come give me what
All right, it is the next morning. Good morning. It's bright and early. My whole family is still sleeping. And so I thought I would come in and demold this. I'm going to demold this first because I don't have high hopes for it. However, I want to tell you what I did on this one because I was going to originally mix a little bit more resin to fill it up, but I was being lazy. So all I did was I took my walnut shell filler, this stuff, and I poured it in and mixed it in. And that way it just increases the volume. And I don't have to take any more resin. Also, it adds weight to it because if it's cool, it's a little weightier, not too much, but resin sometimes feels a little too light for me. So I'm going to demold this. There's one little bit here where the paper came up, so that's why I don't have high hopes for that corner at least, because that dark resin is under it. But let's see what we got. You never know. And if I don't like it, I'll try a different one. So let me just get this demolded. All right, so the tray came out clean, so that's good. So let's see what we have here. Oh, it's actually pretty cool. Okay, I'm not mad. There's a couple little bubbles, but you kind of, you know what? They're not even bubbles. They're the edges of those stickers. So they don't have, I don't have any bubbles in the paper part. Oh, sorry, I lied. I have one bubble there, which I'm not too mad about. Otherwise, it's kind of cool. I like the way the metallic came out on the edge and that the stickers are kind of subtle in there. So it's not like big, bold stickers. They kind of blend in and you get a hint of it because they're both iridescent on iridescent. So, and I love how the rose came out. So I'm happy with that. Thank goodness. All right. So there's not much of a reveal for the clock, but let's get her out of here. I'll go towards you so you can see it from this angle. And I'll have to do some cleanup on the edges, especially down here. I know it over poured a bit. And there's a couple of holes that have some overspill in them. So I'll get those cleaned up off camera. So there's my floppy little mold. I really like that mold actually. But that's my clock so far. So all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my these overspilled, clipped off, and then I'll grab some clock parts and we'll put this together. So I will be back. All right, guys, here is the actual final result. When I was scraping off the excess, I took my knife and I went all the way across the side and put this big giant scratch right in it. So of course I had to top coat it. So I took my Total Boat tabletop resin just because it's nice and thick. And I threw a top coat on there. And then I took my Wax It All food grade gel, or wax I should say, and sealed the wood parts. But I'm super excited about how this came out. I think it looks pretty dang awesome. And I got the clockworks in and it looks great. So, and I love the back. Did I show you guys the back? I think the back looks really good too. But that is this piece. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I think I kind of want to start a resin channel because having them both, hi, I think you can see my reflection. Hello. Having them both in one channel gets a little difficult when it comes to what people want to watch. So I think I'm going to start a resin channel and that'll just be called Arisaroo Resin Art. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Give me a like, give me a share, give me a comment, and give me a subscribe. Talk to you later. Bye.